What happened to the PlayStation Classic, and is it still worth buying today? The PlayStation Classic was a failed console launched by Sony. It launched with a decent lineup of games and a price tag of $100. Nobody bought this system because Nintendo had a better product at a cheaper price. But since the price heavily went down due to low sales, is now a good time to buy the system?
Welcome, Web of Wires. I got my little guy for Christmas about 4 months ago. I played a bit of it already, but I just haven't had the time to actually dive deep and finish some games. In this video, I want to go over some of the system's flaws, the hacking scene, and why right now might be a good time to pick the system up if you're interested.
In the box you get the console, 2 controllers, an HDMI cable, and a micro USB for power. No power brick, but there's a bunch lying around in everybody's house. The console itself feels like a plastic shell. The cables are high quality and the controllers are amazing. I support their decision to go full classic and forget the joysticks. I think it feels a lot more like I'm playing a PlayStation than a PS2 I grew up with. These controllers also work on PC if calibrated properly. I would have liked a little extra weight on the system itself and longer controller cables. As cool as it is playing it like an original system, the console would often fall off my entertainment center and the controllers weren't long enough to sit more than 5 feet away from my TV. But what would be playing on the TV? Well, quite a few games actually. There are some big titles like Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Metal Gear Solid, Tekken 3, and Final Fantasy 7. The main reason I got this system was because it was the cheapest official way to play Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo in my own room. I grew up with the HD version of the game on the PS3 and loved every second of it on the Classic. Outside of those games, the library is decent. There are good games on here, but I would have liked more than Rainbow Six and Jumping Flash. But most importantly, I would have liked the superior versions of these games. I didn't notice a difference when playing for the first time, mainly because I know nothing about the library, but knowing there's a Tekken 3 out there that runs better than the PAL version, and it wasn't used, makes me a bit disappointed. There were quite a few games that were surprisingly absent. I would have liked something like Spyro or Crash. Not even all the games, just one of each. In the Resident Evil game, I would have preferred 2, but it makes sense why it's not on there. The remake was releasing soon after this console. I think Parappa the Rapper would have been a cool game to put on there as well. Also, where is Symphony of the Night, Tony Hawk, Gran Turismo, Silent Hill, Klonoa, Tomb Raider? I get that licensing can be a bit difficult with some of these titles, but if Sony wanted to make this system a great competitor to Nintendo, as well as pricing it $20 higher, I think a couple extra titles wouldn't be a big deal. I think more multiplayer games would have been a lot more fun as well. Yes, there are 10 multiplayer games, but half of them aren't great multiplayer games. It was obvious the system was rushed to meet holiday demands, with Sony not even making their own emulation software for the system. Overall, it didn't meet the quality most expected from them in terms of software. But luckily it was the software that was the issue, and not the hardware. The hacking community absolutely loves this system. They went all out, letting this thing basically do it all. If you want, you can hook up a USB Nintendo 64 controller and play Banjo. As long as you have a method to rip your games and put them onto a flash drive, I see no point in not hacking this system. All you need is a flash drive. Best of all, it doesn't do anything to the original software except add like 6 files that aren't noticeable unless you really dig through the system's files. It's just plug and play emulation and I love it. The PlayStation Classic is a system that shouldn't be released in this state. It was obviously expected to be a quick cash grab that ended up not selling until marked down to $20. But with how fast the system can be in terms of raw horsepower and third-party hacking, it really depends on the person. If you want to relive the days of opening your first PlayStation, its current average price of around $60 is a good deal. If you want a cheap system just to emulate games, this is honestly perfect. Hey, even if you want to get into the classic PlayStation games, this system is a great purchase. But if you're going to expect the highest quality experience, the best emulation, the best games, the best Sony can do, you're going to be disappointed.
Sony has definitely put out better than what was served on the table, I won't deny that. But I did enjoy my time with this system. I got to play new games like Final Fantasy 7 and Tekken 3, as well as relive the days of playing Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo with my sisters in the living room all day. I think the quality of the product definitely could have been better, but something the Classic absolutely does well is capture nostalgia, even if it wasn't there to begin with.